Hi, this is Robert with CRUZBIKE, and today we're going to install racks on the new through axle 2021 S40. The rack is basically unchanged from previous years. It's a one-piece rack with 4 attachment points. Comes with everything you need to attach to the frame. We have the upper mounts here on the seat stay, and we have some other mounts closer to the back. Those are the mounts that we're going to be using. Note we also have some front mounts. We'll get to that later. But for the rear rack, we're going to be using the back mounts and the upper mounts. Now we have our installation hardware and a 4mm Allen. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to very carefully spread the lower stays around the seat stay. I want to be very careful to make sure we don't scratch up our paint by just opening these up a little bit and spreading them down, and line up those holes on the lower mount and use our 5mm bolts. I'm going to pre-thread these in here and use our 4mm Allen. Tighten those down. I'm not going to fully tighten them yet because I still want to be able to make some adjustments. We're going to add the other bolt to the other side. Again, use our 4mm Allen to tighten that bolt down. Now we'll work on the upper struts. We're going to use our same Allen wrench to just loosen these bolts a little bit. And then now those can move side to side and in and out. And what we're going to do is loosen these just enough so we can align the mount holes with the upper part of the frame. Now with the S40 we have a standard set of struts, and we also have a longer set of struts. The standard set of struts will have the rack be at a slight tilt, and that back part of the rack is going to be just at the end of the attachment point at full extension. Don't forget to remove the rubber caps and attach the strut at the very end of the strut attachment at full extension. Once we have everything lightly tightened on one side, we will repeat on the other side. And once everything's nice and secure, we will tighten all of the bolts into the frame as well as on the rack itself. Once everything's nice and tight, we'll have a good platform for our trunk bag or our panniers. As you can see here, the finished assembly can have a trunk bag, can fit various pannier bags of all styles. Most standard type panniers will work with this rack. Makes for a great way to carry things. Now you might say, Robert, I have more panniers, so I need some way to carry more than 2 bags. Do you have a solution? Yes, we do. We have the ability to install our new underseat rack. The underseat rack goes on the mount points at the front and also doubles up with the mount points at the bottom for the rear rack. This is our new underseat rack. It's very easy to install. Comes with all the hardware you need. You will also need your 4mm Allen and an 8mm nut driver. The rack is 2 halves. You will notice it is directional, so it has one mount that is on the up position, the other one is in the down position. You have a left and a right. So the right side is going to be mounted with the upper mount facing up and vice versa on the left side. Then we have 2 cross members that go in an X pattern at the front of the bike. So the underseat rack shares the same mount point as the rear rack. So in this case, I'm going to be using a longer M5 bolt, the one that came with the rear rack. We're going to loosen that. Everything else can stay nice and tight. And once we loosen that, we're going to slip the underseat rack right on the inside, and we're going to use the 3rd hole down. Now there's various mounting holes on this rack because different years of the S40 have slightly different positions of the holes. So it allows for you to make sure the rack is as level as possible. On this particular new S40, we're going to use the uppermost holes for the back and also for the front. So 3rd holes from the bar basically. We're going to simply tighten those down nice and snug on the right side, and then of course we're going to do the exact same thing for the left side. Now the underseat rack will not be useful without the cross bracing at the bottom. Otherwise it will not be strong enough to carry a bag. So what we have here is 2 very simple cross braces, and we're just going to simply use the rest of our M5 bolts and nylock nuts, and we're going to attach these braces in an X pattern. Now the slots in the rack mounts are oblong. That's again to just accommodate for slight differences in the widths of the mounts, but they should fit very well. And once we have those bolts and nuts in place, we're going to simply tighten these down. And once we've tightened these 4 attachment points, that's going to create a very solid attachment point for our panniers that will not sway side to side when there's weight. Now for any rear rack and also the underseat rack, It's always recommended that you split the weight between two bags on the left and the right side rather than fully loading a bag on one side of the bike. It's better for the rack, and it's also better for the handling of the bike in general to have the weight equally distributed on both sides of the frame. But as you can see here, now we can carry 4 panniers. They're nice and out of the way, but still somewhat accessible even while you're riding. We have plenty of clearance from the ground. And here you have your full touring machine ready to carry anything you want on your cruise bike adventures. As always, if you have questions, please email us at support@cruzbike.com. And happy cruise biking. Thanks so much for watching.